All right, guys, what a gem. So I learned some stuff with this. And you know what? It's a lesson that I should have known. Let's just say it's a lesson that I've already learned, but this kind of reinforced it with this bike. The aftermarket carb kits, they're just terrible. And I really thought about it, and it made sense because, you know, as good as they are trying to replicate the stock items, we're talking thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of an inch tolerance. I mean, it's just impossible for them to make them exactly the spec of the factory stuff. So when I got the bike didn't have carbs on it. I basically took it apart. I took the carbs apart, but they had included and I forget the name of the company that makes them, Fours from the Past or something like that. They had included 4 of those kits, and I thought, well, you know what, they're brand new, I'll put them in. But that's where the problem started. I never got the bike to run right. First was the needles, and I swapped out the needles once I swapped out the needles, and this should have been telling to me, but once I swapped out the aftermarket needles and put the factory ones back in, the bike ran better. But I still had the aftermarket pilots and the aftermarket mix screws in them, and I just could not get the thing to idle right. And I could not get the #1 cylinder to seal. Oh, that was some nice lightning right there. I couldn't get the #1 cylinder to the float bowl, the float seal, to seal up. It kept leaking. So last night I took the carbs off again, 4th time I think it was, and a couple of people on this floor on the Facebook group had just said put the stock stuff back on it. So I put the stock main jets, stock pilots, stock mixture screws back in it, and started it up today, and it was still running kind of weird, and I didn't understand what was going on. Well, what I realized last night, by running guitar strings through the pilots and the mains, you could feel the difference. Now, it wasn't huge, but you could definitely feel the difference in tension on the guitar strings running through the pilots and running through the mains. So that just says it all right there. They're close, but they're marked for 40s on the pilots. They're probably more of like a 42. Plugs were black. So today I realized that after I got it back together, it wasn't running right because the plugs have been fouled out from those kits. Same with the main jets. The mains are listed as what, 75s? They're probably more like a 78 or an 80. So this thing was just fat all over. So now it's back to stock pretty much, and you know, everything's clean, but stock stuff in it, and it just runs like a gem. So look at that, just like a sewing machine. Just such a nice tone. So call that a victory, guys. I'm very happy. I'm going to put the tank back on it. Another issue with the tank was so bad. The tank had fuel in it from 1982. It wasn't even liquid anymore. It was solid. But I red coated the inside of the tank, but I noticed that when I drained it yesterday, the fuel was a little bit red. So it's got some, I think you're supposed to like run a little bit of fuel in there and then, you know, slosh it around and dump it out. But running a fuel filter on it, so I don't think that'll be too much of an issue. But my hands were tied. I tried Pour 15 originally for the tank. That stuff all peeled up, probably because I just couldn't get it prepped right. It was really, really difficult to get all the rust and everything out of there. So I don't know if it's just the limitations of Pour 15 or the limitations of me. prepping a tank, but the second time around, I won't ever use Pour 15 anymore. I'll either use Caswell's or I'll use the red coat. But yeah, so that's that. So happy times. So all right, I'll get the tank on it and shoot some more videos of this thing running. Thanks for watching my long rant post, and thanks to everybody that chimed in trying to help. Really appreciate it. These carbs are a challenge. I do lots of carburetors, but every set has a, you know, they've got their idiosyncrasies, the way that these are with their linkages and everything. I mean, these are quite complex. But I've learned my final lesson. I won't ever use the aftermarket carb kits ever again. I think, well, I'm a Sudco dealer, so from here on out, I'll just do everything OEM or Partzilla. So anyway, all right, guys, thanks for watching. Take care.